all proper fractions fall between 0 and 1. A proper fraction is any fraction where the numerator is equal to or smaller than the denominator. That means the top number is not larger than the bottom number. So any fraction where the top number is equal to or smaller than the bottom number will be between 0 and 1. It'll equal between 0 and 1. Now, fractions that equal 0 are any fraction with a 0 in the numerator. So 0/7 equals 0. 0/7 equals 0. 0/3 equals 0. 0/5 equals 0. 0/6, 0/9, all of those equal 0. Anytime we have a fraction and the numerator is a 0, that fraction is going to be equal to 0. Over at this end we have 1. Now fractions that are equal to 1 are like 3/3, 4/4, 5/5, 6/6, 12/12. You might have noticed by now that every single one of those, the numerator and the denominator, is exactly the same. So that is true. Anytime the numerator, the top number, and the denominator, the bottom number, are exactly the same, our fraction is going to equal 1 whole. The reason that works is because our fraction bar actually means divided by. That's what the fraction bar actually means. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. 4 divided by 4 equals 1. 5 divided by 5 equals 1. So anytime the numerator and the denominator are exactly the same, that fraction is going to equal 1 whole. There's one exception to that rule. If it is 0/0ths, the fraction does not equal 1 whole, but the fraction still equals 0, because anytime there is a 0 in the numerator, the fraction is going to equal 0. Any time the numerator and the denominator are the same and they're not zeros, it's going to be equal to 1 whole. Now 1/2. Fractions that are equivalent to 1/2. If I look at this, I notice that the number 1 is half as big as the number 2. That's what makes it a half, 1/2. So anytime my numerator or top number is half as big as my denominator or bottom number, the fraction is going to be equal to 1/2. For example, 3/6. 3 is half of 6, so 3/6 is equal to 1/2. 2/4, same thing. 2 is half of 4, so 2/4 is equal to 1/2. 8/16, 4/8, 5/10, 9/18, 10/20, 50/100. All of those are equivalent to 1/2 because in each of these cases the numerator is half of the denominator. The numerator is half as big as the denominator. In other words, if I double the numerator, 5 plus 5 will equal 10, 8 plus 8 will equal 16, 9 plus 9 will equal 18. So if I can double the numerator to get the denominator, that means the numerator or top number is half as big as the bottom number, and it will equal 1/2. So once again, anytime there's a 0 in the numerator, my fraction is going to be equal to 0. Anytime my numerator and denominator are exactly the same and they're not zeros, it's going to be equal to 1. And anytime my numerator is half of my denominator, my fraction is going to be equal to 1/2.